we're basically trying to make history here. We are making history here.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So today, we're going to be covering the Osirian initiation, the Emerald Tablets. We're going to talk about Thoth the Atlantean. And why are we talking about the Emerald Tablets and Thoth the Atlantean? We're going to touch on those two topics and some of the esoteric wisdom about it. Because why? Because Thoth is one of the founders of the original mystery school. Okay? This is important. This is where, and we're going to talk about this, a lot of other people have been initiated in this mystery school that was created by Thoth the Atlantean himself. One of the biggest things in Egyptian mysteries is that we're not living in current time. We're not living in real time. We're actually living slightly in the past. Things are happening ahead of us right now, currently, as I'm standing up here talking to you guys, that are going to happen within the next 7 seconds. So, actual secret societies would be Bohemian Grove, college fraternities, Freemasonry, the Hellfire Club, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Knights Templar, Ku Klux Klan, Opus Dei. The Great Pyramid would generate hydrostatic electricity, and it would transmit it from the apex, and then the obelisk would pick up those frequencies and transmit them almost like a wireless signal. That's why the obelisks are made of magnetic granite. The Egyptian mummification process was not so that they can just get on a solar boat in the next life and sail away. You begin to realize that these Atlantean Anunnaki people had promised them something. They promised them eternal life. If you go to the grocery store right now and take a slab of meat off the shelf, go to a laboratory, take a piece of that material, you can then get what out of it? DNA, and then I can do what? I can clone that DNA back into that full-size animal again. Right now, today. This is not even magic, this is like real science. Enlil had gone away for a while. When he comes back, he sees his tower being built by people in unison, peace, and harmony, and what does he do? He destroys it. Listen, if you go to the Congressional Library in Washington, D.C., there's 2 gigantic steel doors. What's on those doors? Thoth the Atlantean and Odin. There's also him. Both of his names. You think these people don't know what's going on out here, man? Green, we talked about earlier. Malachite represented joyfulness and was closely associated with the goddess Hathor. You got to go to the Hathor Temple in Egypt. It's a phenomenal place. Okay, we've been here for a long time in the land of Khem. We've rebuilt this high-level civilization. It's back. Okay. All right. You guys get over here. You guys get over here. You guys get 4 corners. You guys go duplicate what I did here. You duplicate here. You do. This is why you have pyramids on every single corner of the earth. They're all from one architect, Thoth the Atlantean. He was the master architect, the master designer, the keeper of wisdom, the teacher of knowledge and language. Then once his crew learned from him, he then what? He sent them all around the world to duplicate what he just achieved in the land of Khem. Here we have again his account of he's in the halls of Amenti, which are located underneath the Great Pyramid, and while his body is in there, really, his consciousness is now inhabiting another avatar body and walking amongst men. They make many references to the fact that they walk amongst men, but unlike a man. Archway rooms underneath the Great Pyramid that extend out under the Giza Plateau about 1 mile. Ground-penetrating radar from satellites is now proving this. They also found, guess what, guys? Hundreds, not a few dozen, hundreds of pyramids underneath the sand at Giza. Etched into the actual stone pillar, atomically etched into it, is the flower of life. Okay, here's the Temple of Osiris, by the way, on the way down. It's right next to the Temple of Abydos. Okay? Now, if you haven't gone to, anybody here been to the Temple of Abydos? Oh my goodness, you gotta go. Because you won't believe it until you see it with your own eyes. So if you've ever seen the outer walls of the Temple of Edfu, it's an amazing depiction of these ancient gods. But who are they? Horus, Osiris, Isis, all the ones we know about. Those were called the Nitiru, which we know as the Anunnaki, which we know as the Atlanteans. They're all the same people. The Watchers and everything else, they're all the same people, just very different levels of skill and ability and recognition. Has anybody here been to the Coral Castle in Miami? Gotta go there. Edward Leedskalnin. Okay, this guy had unraveled the secrets of Egyptian mysteries in building and construction, and he built this gigantic coral castle down in Miami, which I've been to several times. He has the same exact device. He was seen whistling and levitating gigantic blocks of coral that weigh tons. Well, this configuration is in alignment with the Orion star system, which to me, says a couple things. The first thing that says the reason why so many of these pyramid plateaus are aligned there is telling me that they're saying, hey guys, this is probably where we're from or our relatives are from, number one. Number two, I think that it's also incredible that these pyramid structures are capable of generating frequencies on the hydrogen frequency, frequencies on hydrogen level. And hydrogen is the most widely used frequency in the universe. But when I get to that meditative state, when I get to that mindset, when I understand the day that's ahead of me, I literally feel like I'm warping space-time around my body. I literally feel it. I actually feel a tunnel opening up sometimes, and I'll even step through it. And it may sound crazy to some people. It may sound like, wow, this is way out there. But just try it. Just try it. Try to understand the true power that's in you. Try to understand that when you feel that matrix bending and warping, you're creating this warped space that then bends everything to your will. Here I am now in Cambodia, and I'm pointing at a dinosaur. A dinosaur that has meat on its bones. So what that tells me is the people who etched this into this temple thousands of years ago must have known what a dinosaur looked like, which means dinosaurs most likely lived with men. So it's very important to understand that there's a lot of people out there that dinosaurs don't exist and they never existed and dinosaurs are fake and atmospheres are fake and all this stuff. I'm here to tell you, no, it's all real. So we're going to talk real briefly about the Osirian initiation. The great work of the ancient mysteries enhanced the philosophic initiation was and still is for the seeker to provide to prove himself the truth of these teachings in the analysis of the Egyptian mysteries. So Osiris, who is Osiris? Osiris is the first initiate, the first one to start the Egyptian mystery schools, okay? Osiris is always depicted as being green. You're never gonna see him any other color. He's always green. Okay? I think there's beings that can even phase shift their frequency and walk from one dimension into our dimension and then back again. So I think that it's nothing but light frequency, an understanding of how light frequencies truly work and how to manipulate them. So basically what quantum physics has now proven through the double slit experiment is that all that exists are electromagnetic waves. So you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Oh, don't forget, there's another planet right there you didn't know about called Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, in our solar system. It has more fresh water on it than Earth. Yeah. But, unfortunately, they don't talk about that on CNN all day long. So if you look at a brain cell and look at the universe, and a lot of you have probably seen this, you see the same thing. If you zoom out of the universe, it looks like a gigantic brain cell. So we're most likely living inside of a living being, a living entity. The Earth itself, I believe, is also a living conscious being. Planets and moons, they've created enough connectivity to obtain, to me, a certain level of consciousness, a certain level of sentience. Merkaba, also spelled Merkaba with the AH at the end, translates literally into light, spirit, body. The Merkaba symbol is a shape made of two intersecting tetrahedrons that spin in opposite directions, so it's counter-rotating tetrahedrons, creating a three-dimensional energy field. Toroidal energy flow is the key to the whole thing. The energy flow that's moving around us and in us at all times and up and through us. When I tell people that the energy, the divine energy is inside of us, if you had the capability of seeing just the aura, this is what it would look like. You'd see the human body in the middle, you see the energy flow up and around. This energy flow can be applied to tetrahedrons, which are pyramid structures. It can be applied to planets and moons. It can be applied to machinery. Let's look at some of the technology here. So this one here, on the far top right, which is probably your left, is in the crypt, underground crypt at the Temple of Dendera. I went down in that crypt. So whoever comes to me at the end of May, we'll go down in that crypt together. It's only about this wide, so you can't even extend your arms out. There's a place in Romania called the Bushegi Mountains. Anybody ever heard of Bushegi? Yeah? There's a sphinx there. a gigantic sphinx. It's the same sphinx as you see in the movie Prometheus, basically. It's identical. I guess that's where they copied it from. But the reason I bring it up, inside of this sphinx, and there's a 2.5 hour documentary that I was a part of. It's on YouTube, it's free. Bushegi Mountain. Inside of it, there's this chamber. Then I'm gonna go down to South Africa and go to Adam's Calendar, where the first gold mines were discovered. 200,000-year-old gold mines. Right, in the house that Enlil lived in at the top of the hill, overlooking the gold mines, where the Ijiji came to come to battle against them for making them do the workload. That house is still there. The roof is off, obviously, and everything else, but the walls, the framework is still there of that place. So it's a real sacred place, and that's really ancient history right there. So we have the sound frequencies of every planet in this entire solar system now. And I downloaded all those sound frequencies. I downloaded the one from Saturn and the moon Titan. What's interesting is when you start listening to it, at first it just sounds like a bunch of, you know. But in the one that was coming from Titan and Saturn, you start to seem like it's conversation. Look at Iraq. It looks like the same thing, doesn't it? War, destruction, bombs blowing up and everything else. People sitting halfway around the world in steel bunkers underneath mountains using remote control devices to drop bombs on innocent people, blowing up hospitals, schools, colleges, everything else, just eradicating people. And then they used the Halliburton Corporation, which they did $34 billion already in revenue since 2011. Like when I wrote my book, as I was selling them and giving them out to people, I kept telling people, this is gonna be a bestseller, this is gonna be a bestseller. Every book I handed to people, before it was, I was telling them it was gonna be a bestseller. And about maybe a month and a half in, I went to Amazon.com and I saw the ranking thing. I said, let me find out where this book is. And when I clicked on it, it was in the bestsellers list, Manifestations. I then later formed the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, which their press release went global. And our search for extraterrestrial life, not only on Earth, but also in our solar system, based off of official space probe data from multiple space agencies. And to date, we've downloaded over 1 million images from the space agencies, and we've now documented over 58,000 anomalies, things that don't belong on these particular planets and moons in our solar system. If you look at the Perry-Reese map, does anybody here know about the Perry-Reese map? A couple of people. The Perry-Reese map is an ancient map of the planet Earth. And what's really amazing about it, the Perry-Reese map shows Antarctica, what it looks like without ice. And yeah, they do have trees at the North and South Pole. That's snow and trees, well documented. We give you the longitude, the latitude. We give you the gallery and the image number so that you can download it for yourself. And it's backed up to what looks like a water reservoir. They've already admitted that there are billions of tons of liquid water on Mercury. And also there's a lot of these structures on Mercury that don't appear to be part of the surrounding terrain. But to get from this dimension to another dimension, you have to phase shift your atomic frequency to match. So if you have the technology to do that, if you could find out the resonant frequency of another dimension and phase shift the frequency of your ship and your body and everything else, like we talked about the jet killer on, to get those frequencies to walk through portals. Thank you. Hi, my name is Billy Carson. I'm the president of Forbidden Knowledge. Are you looking for an amazing opportunity that you can invest in that's already generating revenue? A company that's already making money and profits right now today? Well, look no further. Forbidden Knowledge. We have our own streaming TV network. We're now approved and streaming already on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, the iOS App Store, Google Play Store, and the web. We have over 5,200 amazing shows with over 22,000 subscribers. We just reached our 1-year anniversary, and we have a phenomenal base with huge potential upside. We're looking to be 3 times this size by this time next year, and you can be a big part of that. So please review this information and join us at Forbidden Knowledge. Thank you. You are watching Forbidden Knowledge TV.